Hello everyone, I am Aarti Sarvaiya. Today I am going to present on elements of Shakespearean tragedy with reference to his famous works. This is my introduction, subtitles of my presentation about the playwright. William Shakespeare is one of the most famous authors in English literature and very known for his writing tragedy. He is a writer of Elizabethan age, and he is a well-known writer for writing tragedy. And he wrote at least 37 plays during his career. We can generally divide his works into three categories like comedy, tragedy, and history. In comedy, there are 14 plays are comedy, uh, 12 are tragedy, and 11 are historical plays. Uh, Historical plays. Some considers Shakespeare's play Hamlet to be one of the best ever written. Hamlet is a very well known tragedy of him, and it is the longest tragedy of Shakespeare. Some of the most popular tragedies written by William Shakespeare, like Romeo Juliet, Macbeth, and King Lear. Othello is also the famous one tragedy written by William Shakespeare. Types of Shakespearean tragedy. There are two types of Shakespearean tragedy, like heart tragedy and head tragedy. Heart tragedy means a tragedy which focuses on love, marriage, and other things. Uh, we can say his Romeo and Juliet, Antony and Cleopatra, and Othello. These are the considered as a heart tragedy, and another is a head tragedy. Means in this tragedy, character is capable for free will and often has his positive traits overcome by ego. In this tragedy, uh, the main character or protagonist ego, jealousy, and other things are main and coming as a theme of the tragedy. And Othello and Cressida is considered as a head tragedy. Elements of Shakespearean tragedy. First element is a tragic hero. The tragic hero is usually the story's protagonist. He experiences overwhelming tragic events throughout the play. A tragic hero is in his tragedies. Tragic hero is a protagonist. Um, in his tragedy, the male character is mostly becomes the tragic hero. Female is becomes, but rarely. Tragic hero almost always die at the end of the play. In his most of the tragedies are we can see that at the end of the tragedy, at the end of the play, tragic hero or protagonist is becoming death, and these are, for example, Othello, Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, Julius Caesar, Romeo and Juliet, and etc. Othello, Hamlet, Macbeth are also a great tragedy of him, and at the end of the play, they are becomes died, and King Lear and Julius Caesar are also facing the same problem. Conflict between good and evil. Characters in Shakespearean tragedy often have to make choices between good and evil. In his tragedies, we can see that a protagonist life has two options: that good and another is evil. Um, Being a good character does not guarantee one's survival in the tragedy, which often makes ending of the play so painful. We cannot say that if he chooses the good way, or he is a good character, then he faces the doesn't faces the tragedy, tragic end. Often, even a good character or taken a good path, they also faces the tragic end at the end. Um, like Othello is considered as a good protagonist, but at the end, Iago is Iago. Iago at the end of the play, he feels jealousy, and Iago made a plan, and he becomes a success on that, and uh, du- uh, because of that, Othello faces a tragic end. Macbeth, in this Macbeth, in the Macbeth, he chooses the wrong way. That he he chooses the wrong way to get their ambition. Uh, and King Lear, he also faces the same problem, that he want to do good in her life, but and his decision, but at the end he also fail in that. Fatal flaw and fatal mistake. Character flaw like greed and other weakness can lead to personal destruction, and fatal flaw like greed, ambition, jealousy, and other things are can be lead them to tragic end, or more commonly, tragic hero make fatal mistakes, then that lead them down and a doomed path. Uh, for example, Othello, Macbeth, King Lear, and Romeo Juliet. Most of his tragedy are considered are doing the fatal mistakes, not a fatal flaw. Some of the tragedy like King Lear, Romeo and Juliet, that there is a fatal flaw, because when Juliet Juliet uh, acted to acted to lie or death, then Romeo is also Romeo feels that Juliet is dying. That's why he also become he also kill himself, and then after he faces the tragedy. Fourth is death and destruction. Tragedy almost always ends in the death and destruction, as opposed in comedy, which ends with marriages. We can see in our syllabus that tragedy are almost end with the tragic end uh, with the death of the protagonist, and comedy are almost end with marriages and uh, marriages. For example, Othello, Macbeth, King Lear, Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, and Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar are facing uh, are also facing the death or in this tragedy, the tragic hero uh, tragic hero becomes the uh, kill or murder or a death at the end of the tragedy. Fifth is fate and fortune. It is often strongly implied that the character's fate are outsider their control, giving their doom a sense of inevitability. In Macbeth, we can see this fate and fortune, because when he believes on prophecies, witches' prophecies, and doing the wrong thing, or murders to kill Duncan for getting his ambition. Uh, there we can see the fate or fortune of the tragic hero. Revenge. Many Shakespearean tragedy, but not all, involves the element of revenge. A character often threaten or kill one and another as an attempt to avenge those who are dead. Many of Shakespearean tragedy, Hamlet, takes the Hamlet in this tragedy. Hamlet takes the revenge against his uncle because his uncle murders his father and marry with his mother. That's why he takes the revenge against his uncle and killed him. Uh, and at the end, he also died. Uh, Character often threaten or kill one and another as an attempt to avenge those who are dead. In Othello, or Macbeth. There were also takes revenge. In Macbeth, Banquo takes the in Macbeth. Malcolm Malcolm takes the revenge with Macbeth uh, because he lost his father, or Macbeth murders his father, King Duncan. That's why he takes the revenge. And seventh is supernatural element. Several of these plays, but not all, features prophecies, witches, vision, or ghosts. In Macbeth, we can see the elements of prophecy and witches. And Julius Caesar, we also see the ghost of Julius Caesar, because in Julius Caesar, he Julius Caesar, a person killed Julius Caesar, who killed Julius Caesar. There at that time, after that, he also feel guilt for that, or guilt for that. That's why he also seems the ghost of Julius Caesar. It is internal pressure. A head tragedy is a story about a character whose ego or internal struggle causes his destruction. A lot of Shakespearean tragedy, a tragic hero experiences internal pressure that push them to act in destructive ways. Othello, Hamlet, and Macbeth. In these three tragedy, we can find the internal pressure, because in Othello, he feels jealousy or ego for his wife, for his faithful wife. Um, at the end, he murders his wife for his ego or jealousy. In Macbeth, we can also see this same situation, because Macbeth committed or chooses the wrong way to get his ambition. At this time, we can also see the internal pressure, because he has also ambition for become a king, and then after a tragedy, which is also which is make the prophecy that he will become next king. That's why uh, he doing the he chooses that prophecy. External pressure. Some characters are pursued to destruction by external or more than or as much as internal ones, including other character or social structure that are working against the tragic hero. In Macbeth, we can see this element, that external pressure. He also has a ambition to be a king, but or uh, which is also making the made the prophecy. Uh, but when he tells these things to he tells this thing to his wife, then his wife is also pressures him to be uh, for that he will become our next king. Conclusion. At the end, we can say that Macbeth, the play is also considered is elements of Shakespearean tragedy. Um, Macbeth also, or another also tragedies are considered or follows the elements or elements, and at the end we can say that through these elements which are followed by Shakespearean tragedy, we can find out the Shakespearean tragedy easily and differentiate his tragedy easily. These are the references, and thank you. Now, if you have any doubt or query, then you can ask me.
According to you, what is the fatal flaw of Romeo and Juliet?
Fatal flaw. Romeo and Juliet. In this, Romeo and Juliet tragedy, fatal flaw is like that. At the end, uh, Juliet doing the Juliet has a plan that Juliet and Romeo, that both families are opposite, and families are opposite, and they don't accept their love. That's why Juliet had made a plan that she doing a she acting that she is died, and then after when he uh, he is an income that then after he meet Romeo. But when Romeo gets this news that Juliet is a death or Juliet is no more, that then Romeo goes there, and he also kill himself, and that's kill his himself. And after when Juliet is over his plan, there he finds that Romeo is no more. That's why he also considered. That's why he also killed his herself.
Okay, my question is, according to you, how is Othello considered as a heart tragedy and head tragedy both?
Uh, in Othello, heart tragedy and heart tragedy. Heart tragedy in means that consider who tragedy in which considers love or other emotions that in Othello, when he meets Desdemona and love her and marries her, in that time we can find the heart. We can in that time we can find the love, emotion of love. That's why we can consider this as a heart tragedy and head tragedy. In that sense, at the end of the tragedy, uh, at the end of the tragedy. He kills his wife. He kills his wife. That's why, and at that time he feels jealousy or ego type of sense emotions. That's why we can consider Othello in both of the types of tragedy. Thank you.